You are now listening to the Purple Fox Podcast.
Update.
What's going on, everybody? This is Kevin Eze, your host of the Purple Fox Podcast. And today I'll be discussing the current labor union revolution. The current labor force union push happening within our country, an obvious reaction to the Great Resignation and worsening economic conditions in the United States, is a very exciting event to watch unfold. There aren't many tools at the disposal of the average worker, but one historic and prominent utility that has seemingly been forgotten over the years is being revived at a pace that is revitalizing the average American worker, inspiring hope in their heart of hearts, while at the same time scaring the bejesus out of their corporate employers. A column in the Los Angeles Times by Michael Hiltzik entitled, "Why Starbucks Has Become a Huge Unionization Target and Why the Company is in a Panic," states, quote, "Many American consumer companies, including Amazon and McDonald's, have been dealing with a surging interest in unionization by their employees, spurred in part by the pandemic-driven recognition that their employers have consistently undervalued their contributions to business success." Hiltzik continues on, "But few such union drives are as high profile as the one at Starbucks. One of the many reasons why the company, one of the reasons may be the company's warm and confronting image and its effort to project a friendly relationship between customers and workers who are designated in company parlance as partners." Now, that's very much at odds with the image of an employer so cold to the welfare of its workers that they're spurred to organize. End quote. This current union revolution was primarily triggered by the Staten Island Amazon push in New York by one Christian Smalls and the pro-union votes at 3 Buffalo area Starbucks stores. So that's what started this. That was the initial trigger, the catalyst, if you will. According to Workers United, an affiliate of the Service Employees International Union that is currently organizing union votes, 223 Starbucks locations in 31 states have filed for votes with the NLRB, or the National Labor Relations Board. Apparently, that impressive number is only a fraction of the near 9,000 company-operated stores in the U.S., but reports of new successful votes are being recorded on a daily basis. Hiltzik writes that 5 stores in the Richmond, Virginia area voted for unions by overwhelming margins on April 19th alone. And workers at the company's Seattle Reserve Roastery, a flagship tourist draw in Starbucks' home city, announced a successful vote on April 21st. The interesting thing about this revolutionary union push is how companies are mounting fierce counterattacks, so fierce, to shut them down. CEOs and company owners like Jeff Bezos and Howard Schultz characterize unions as a menace to company economics and prospects, but repeatedly fail to acknowledge how these companies would be nothing without the workers that move them. Even worse are the endless amounts of politicians and governmental bodies that line up behind these obvious donor class business owners to toe their line and pass laws like the 2018 Right to Work law, a Supreme Court decision banning mandatory dues for union membership, lessening the power of unions on the political scene, and claiming to create more freedom within the workplace. Freedom. Now, Right to Work taking off union dues as mandatory means that they won't have as much power during election season to, pour in money to um, opposing campaigns of anti-worker candidates. Workers that would even more restrict their benefits and their worker conditions, which is why that is a huge negative. There was also something that was struck down in Congress called the PRO Act. It's been trying to pass recently. I think it passed the House actually, but the Senate hasn't brought it to the floor. And that is strengthening the power of unions. But right to work is still in place, I believe. Now, the question one has to ask themselves is freedom for whom? To quote Christian Smalls, one of the lead unionizing figures of the moment, quote, Senator Graham, you forgot that we are the people who make these companies operate. The process for holding these companies accountable isn't working, end quote. What irritates me the most is the level of union busting implemented by corporate owners like Howard Schultz and Jeff Bezos. I think Howard Schultz is actually in trouble for some of the union busting tactics they were just employing recently. I think you'll be hearing more about that coming out in the news. They're probably going to get slapped down by the NLRB and some other labor regulating boards around labor law. There've been some pretty egregious fronts trying to stop unionizing efforts and the push to make those happen. How they cannot see the inherent value in giving their workers a seat at the table, I just don't understand. I mean, these are the people who manage your supply chains, ship your products, um, bust their asses to increase your quarterly earnings, and you don't think it would be worth it to make sure that they're taken care of? Doesn't make sense. This is why I fully support the trajectory and the acceleration of this labor union revolution. During a time when there is so little hope among average citizens struggling to make a living, it's truly inspiring to see an organized, worker-led push to grab ownership from the companies that have already taken so much from them. The biggest thing to keep in mind now is that just because a record number of stores are voting in the positive for unionization does not mean that that's the end of the road. It doesn't just end at the vote, a successful vote. The next step is for the collective bargaining process to begin. That's the important part. The war for worker empowerment ends with solid contracts secured from these unionizing efforts. Even when these contracts are secured, it's important to know that they can still expire after a time, so they must be renegotiated and revisited. Remaining vigilant on a variety of fronts is key to worker success in this revolutionary undertaking. There are so many stakeholding entities with an interest in making sure that workers never gain the kind of power that could severely rattle the existing order of the economic hierarchy. Now, even though there have been a handful of politicians who have broken rank and supported this movement, albeit with a surface level amount of energy, every little bit helps to activate the workforce, which is truly bipartisan in this outcry for better conditions and wages. There really is no this sideism or that sideism. This is a worker push on any side of the spectrum. In a CBS Los Angeles staff report entitled Starbucks Workers at Long Beach Store to Hold Unionization Vote, staff writes that Long Beach Mayor Robert Garcia dropped by the Starbucks store to lend his support, buying a cup of coffee under the name Union Strong. The mayor himself tweeted after the appearance, quote, really proud of our Long Beach Starbucks at Redondo and 7th, that our Long Beach store at Redondo and 7th is about to become the first Starbucks in Southern California with a union. Stop by today to support the workers as they organize. Congrats and thank you, end quote. Now, Garcia is currently running to replace Representative Lucille Roybal Allard in the House of Representatives. So it remains to be seen whether this is just a stunt or he actually plans on backing workers during this fight. That'll be interesting to see. Maybe some people can press him on that. Now, I know that initiating a union campaign can seem intimidating and can often be risky to personal employment, but the possible benefits far outweigh the risk in this current moment. The opportunity here is the chance for average workers to organize committees well educated and versed in workers' rights to organize, UE policies, principles of democracy, and rank and file control. These committees can then strategize the overall union campaign for the specific work culture of any one company, highlighting the issues in the workplace, signing up sizable majorities, and petitioning the state and federal labor board to hold union elections. All of this will be happening in conjunction with teams staving off the inevitable union busting tactics that will no doubt be used by the corporations in question. And finally, to reiterate a point, remembering that a successful vote is not the end of the campaign is paramount. Having a skilled group of negotiators ready to handle the collective bargaining process is a must if true change is to unfold within the workplace. The current state of our economy is a kind of crucible at the moment, lighting fires in the hearts of citizens who just want to see their work and the work of those who toil day after day with them appreciated and rewarded. CEOs and corporate owners are being held accountable with one of the only tools available, and I'm here for it. I mean, the little guy has to win sometime is all I'm saying. And I look forward to that revolutionary reality. So this is once again your host of the Purple Fox Podcast, Kevin Eze, signing out.